I'm Matt Gelka in Washington, where the feud between the president and Elon Musk reignited and intensified over a disagreement on the big, beautiful bill.
They haven't gone home in this 26-hour stretch.
Donald Trump and Elon Musk have reignited their public feud. The U.S. president now threatening to...
According to new reporting in the Washington Post, the data that Elon Musk's Doge collected could help his businesses for years to come.
In Washington, where the feud between the president and Elon Musk reignited and intensified over a disagreement on the big, beautiful bill. Elon Musk was mostly quiet about politics for the last few weeks, but came back into the fray with a barrage of posts trashing the one big, beautiful bill, calling it debt slavery. Saying the bill would lead to America going bankrupt, he posted that members of Congress in favor of it should hang their heads in shame, promised to back primary challenges to members who supported it, and floated the idea of forming a new political party, the America Party, if the bill passes. He even found some unlikely allies.
What can I say? Hell has frozen over a second time. Look, but Elon Musk is right about this. He's got it exactly right.
It's a far cry from when Musk and the president were buddy-buddy through the first few months of Trump's second term.
You have been treated unfairly, but the vast majority of people in this country really respect and appreciate you. You know, you're invited to stay as long as you want.
A 1 a.m. Truth Social post from the president ripped into Musk, claiming he was mad about losing electric vehicle mandates. He then suggested taking away government subsidies from Musk companies, saying it would save America a fortune.
We might have to put Doge on Elon. You know what Doge is? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible?
Former Trump White House strategist Steve Bannon questioned if Musk, while leading the Department of Government Efficiency, found any real savings.
Yeah, restocking Celsius, eating M&Ms. I mean, these senators have literally pulled an all-nighter and more because they haven't gone home in this 26-hour stretch. Where we are right now is we have been waiting minute by minute for the last hour, essentially, for these final votes to begin that would essentially begin the process of the final vote that we are all waiting for the Senate to officially pass this package. As we've talked about last hour, Alex, though, a lot of side deals still being hammered out. Even Leader Thune, the top Republican in the Senate, walking to the floor just a half an hour ago, said he thinks they have a deal that is not certain or set in stone at all. But we talked about what this bill would do. This is so important for the president because it would fund his campaign promises. The House really hasn't passed or done much this year. This is really the cornerstone of what the president wants Congress to focus on, and that's why he's been putting down the pressure so heavy on them. But we talked about Medicaid, we talked about solar, we talk about clean energy credits, all of these really sticky provisions, particularly for moderates to be able to accept. We already have two hard no's on this bill, and that is Senator Rand Paul and Senator Tom Tillis, who announced he is not running for re-election. So there really is no reason for him to fold at this stage. So you can almost guarantee that those two will be opposed to the bill. That leaves basically the spotlight all on moderates, and that is why we are watching, in particular, Lisa Murkowski so closely, because they've tried to get her to a yes, both on the energy provisions and also on some of the Medicaid alleviation, like the rural hospital funds and what have you. But we still don't know if Murkowski will ultimately get a yes to the end, as Thune here lays down the pressure in these final few minutes where senators are hoping to get this bill out of their chamber, where it goes to the House and has an uncertain future, Alex.
Okay. Susan, Murkowski and Collins, those are the two that we're keeping an eye on, considered the moderates. What are your expectations for them?
I think Lisa Murkowski could vote no. Susan Collins, I'm really curious about, mostly because I couldn't believe this when I read it yesterday. She has a 14% approval rating in Maine. 14% for Susan Collins in Maine. So, and the Democrat there, governor is above 50. So I'm just looking at this. Either way, she's probably in trouble, whether she faces a primary or she can lose a general election with supporting this bill. Maybe she ends up, I wouldn't be surprised if we hear a Tom Tillis kind of thing, that she votes no and we later hear that she's not running for re-election. That's completely possible. But she's the one who I think if she votes no, this thing goes down.
Does it? But can't you have J.D. Vance? Couldn't he help bring it, resuscitate it?
He could, but I think there are a couple of others like Johnson from Wisconsin who may also end up saying, I can be a no. I can't let Rand Paul be the only one to stand on principle.
Isn't that interesting, though? But then what would they face? I mean, Basil, let's talk about what they would face with the president. He would come after them big time.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. There's no question about it. I don't know. Maybe Elon helps them at the end of the day. Who knows?
Like he suggested.
Yep, right. But no, this is a president who is always hell bent on retribution. He'll go to Truth Social. He'll continuously raise their name in the press. He'll probably even recruit their opponents. But so there's that. But at the same time, these members could also find a way to actually gain some kind of support from their constituents by, I don't know, actually going to talk to them and tell them, I did this for you, and here is why.
With 50-ish almost amendments later, have Democrats achieved anything, Basil?
I think so. I think they've found a way in many different respects to extend the life of the debate around this bill. And in doing so, has given an opportunity for more Americans to learn more about what's in it. And that in and of itself has, I think, created a game plan for Democrats to continue to hammer home why this bill is so bad, how many parts of America are affected by this bill. We talk a lot about Medicaid, but we also need to talk about food stamps and what that does, particularly for the K-12 children.
But I kind of disagree with it. But I kind of disagree with that. I don't think the Democrats come away with anything in that regard. Where I do think they come away with something a plus is that they were able to force a lot of votes that the Republicans had to take. That they will be used at those running for re-election, probably. But at the end of the day, they have nothing to stand on when it comes to this legislation. I'd rather see them, frankly, talking about other things and kind of stop whining about this legislation and talk about, go after the Trump administration on what's happening now.
Including what's happening at Alligator Alcatraz.
Absolutely. Yeah, well,
focusing on that. But Julie, back to you. What happens next with this bill? July 4th has been the deadline that President Trump has imposed. Is that doable?
It is going to be really hard for them to get this done unless they are motivated by a recess, because we've seen them motivated by breaks before. But this situation just feels a little bit different. I was always under the impression, in talking with sources and having covered a bunch of these over the years, that if the Senate manages to pass this, the House will just be forced to swallow it, especially from the pressure coming across Pennsylvania Avenue. But even late last night, you heard Speaker Johnson essentially say that he has been in close coordination with Leader Thune, and he wants the bill to go back to looking how it looked in the House. Take a listen.
We're going to pass this bill, one way or the other, and I have prevailed upon my Senate colleagues to please get as close to the House product as possible. I've been very consistent from the very beginning, and I'll continue to do that.
Is Johnson selling his members something and trying to promise them something that just isn't possible? Because the bill that's coming out of the Senate is different than the House on Medicaid, on the clean energy tax provisions. The AI provision is completely wiped from the bill, as we discussed. There's a rural hospital fund. They didn't cut as much from the deficit as Johnson promised, that $2 trillion number, only managing to cut $1.5 trillion. So Johnson has a real tough road ahead of him. I don't know how he gets this done by July 4th. But again, if the Senate manages to finish this morning or early afternoon, I think there's going to be a ton of phone calls placed from the White House to this side of the Capitol. Alex?
Yeah, well, we don't think there'll be a phone call placed to Elon Musk anytime soon, because here's what's happening there. He is slamming what this bill calls, he's calling it's absolutely insane, right? He's pledging to launch his own political party if this bill gets passed. He's hearing from the president, guess what? I'm going to maybe come after your companies, or we're going to look a little further into everything and see how much the government is supporting you. He has since backed off. As of about 8:30 this morning, he was saying things like, this would be great, but I'm not going to go after this right now. But the Elon Musk factor, I mean, it extends to being able to finance politicians who would oppose Donald Trump. Right. Thomas Massey comes to mind.
Right. And Elizabeth Warren found herself in agreement with Elon Musk, surprisingly, on
strange bedfellows.
Exactly, on this bill. But, Democrats should not hang their hat on what Elon Musk will or potentially could do to help their efforts to dethrone some Republicans. That's just not that shouldn't be part of the strategy. And the reality is, at some point, Elon Musk is going to get tired of hearing himself say this about what he can and cannot do and move.
According to new reporting in the Washington Post, the data that Elon Musk's Doge collected could help his businesses for years to come, giving the world's richest man a competitive advantage over his rivals in the private sector. You mean to tell me they kept the data? Well, according to the Washington Post, quote, in at least 7 major departments or agencies, Doge secured the power to view records that contain competitors' trade secrets, non-public details about government contracts, and sensitive regulatory actions or other information. You mean the server was a bad idea?
How did they think this was going to play out? You give this man and his little 20-something-year-old minions key cards and access codes with their computers to go in and download whatever the hell they want.
I just want to say the reporting on it says they have no proof that that has happened.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes, they don't have proof because they don't have access to the servers, and obviously the Doge people are not going to say,
that
hey,
we stole your
took this.
We took your stuff.
But just to give you a sense, can we pull up our full screen about the government data that could be useful to Elon Musk's company? So from the CFPB, there are trade secrets for financial firms for XAI. From the Education Department, data on millions of student borrowers. From the GSA, non-public information about contracts for Tesla. You get the idea. From labor, from NASA, from Social Security, at every turn, there is data that then can be parlayed into a benefit for his company.
Of course, that was the whole point. I mean, look, Donald Trump likes to make a deal. A deal is a bargain for exchange, right? So what we do is we agree on what you get and what I get. And that's the bargain. The exchange is when we make it happen.
So
I give you what you want, you give me what I want. And part of what Musk always wanted to get his hands on was inside the internal data operations of the United States government. I mean, think about what the man does. Mm-hmm. He's at the center of all of it. And so now all his competitors know he knows their stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, y'all can sit out here and pretend. And I get what reporting, and you got to verify. Y'all can pretend.
Like I said, I understand the standard requirements,
but y'all know if you give me access to your information, and I'm in the business of taking information and using information, you think I'm going to take it?
You asked a good question. So Alicia said, well, what do you think Donald Trump got? Well, I think Donald Trump is getting, according to reporting today, a database of Americans.
Well, before that, he got $250 million.
Well, yeah. He got the presidency.
He got the presidency and $250 million for his campaign.
For Donald Trump.
Did you also see, though, that someone learned about impoundment finally?
Oh, my goodness.
They realized that Congress had actually put aside all this money, and now Doge can't get in the way of helping people spend it. So there are all these notable federal grant opportunities that were ignored by Doge, millions of dollars. Those included resources for Holocaust survivors, support for fall prevention in older adults, resources for healthcare workers assisting patients with Alzheimer's disease. And you have Doge just losing control over the government grants website, which is, you guessed it, freeing up billions of dollars.